Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Avril and if you're new to my channel, I upload a video every week. So stick around because I got loads more of Christmas DIYs in store for you. And also please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to support my channel and also to be notified every time I upload a video. Hi guys, thank you for joining. In today's video, I'm so excited to be sharing with you 5 simple and easy to do Christmas candle holders with things you may have already got at home. So stick around and let's get started. So let's get started on candle hack number 1. This is a simple and easy project to do. All you need is a box or any sort of container, some cement mix, wire, and of course a candle. Here I'm using an IKEA packaging box which I saved that I thought that will come handy. This box was the perfect size for what I wanted to do, but I had to duct tape the bottom part of it because it had some gaps. Once I was done duct taping the box, it was all ready for its concrete mix. Here I mixed around 2 cups of cement mix along with water until I got a gooey consistency. Once the mixture was ready, I poured it into the container which I prepared earlier. Now that I poured all of the concrete mix into the container, I then tapped the container down to release any air bubbles. Afterwards, using a toothpick, popped any stubborn air bubbles that was trapped. Now my concrete base is ready for its next step. Here you see me using a copper coupling as my candle holder. You could get this at the pipe section at your local hardware store. I placed this copper holder on one end of my base because I wanted to do something else to the other side of the base. Once I was done placing the copper holder onto my base, I then took a toothpick which I had coated with petroleum jelly and placed it into the center of my base. You would see later on why I did this. Afterwards, I set aside my base to dry overnight. While my base was drying, I started on my next step for this project. I decided to make a wire Christmas tree which I could fix on my concrete base. So I went along and used my Sharpie and drew a Christmas tree which I could use as a guideline. Afterwards, using my wire, I created a Christmas tree by following the outlines of my drawing. This is a simple and easy wire art project to do. All you need to do is to follow the outlines of your drawing. At this stage, you could choose any design you wish. I chose a Christmas tree. Once you're done with your wire art, all you got to do is fix this onto your concrete base. Now my concrete base is dry, so let's see how it looks. Once I finally managed to rip open this box and take off my concrete base, this is how it looked. The base came off perfectly, but I still wanted to give it a bit of a sanding. Here you see me using a 120 grit fine sandpaper to give this base a good sanding. Once I was done with the sanding, I used an old damp rag and wiped it down clean. Now this base is ready to be put together. Here you see me placing my wire Christmas tree onto the area where I had my toothpick before. Afterwards, I completed this look by placing a candle on my copper holder. This is how my inexpensive candle holder turned out. Hope you guys like it. Candle holder number 2. Yet another easy and inexpensive project to do. All you need for this project is wooden furniture legs, copper capping, a tint or a glaze, and a candle. Here I'm using a wooden furniture leg which I got from my local hardware store that I decided to glaze it using my Rust-Oleum antique glaze. Here you see me using an old rag to apply the glaze onto the leg. Once I was done applying the glaze, I then used the same rag and wiped off all the excess glaze out of the leg to get that look I was after. Now the leg is all glazed, but I still wanted to give this leg a bit of a distressed look, so I decided to give it a sanding. Here I'm using an 80 grit sandpaper to sand my leg to give it a distressed look. Once I was done with my sanding, it was now time to fix my copper capping onto the leg. I decided to use my Gorilla Glue to fix the holder onto my leg. At this stage, you could use any type of glue you got in hand. You could also use hot glue if you wish. Once I fixed my copper holder onto the pre-drilled hole on my wooden furniture leg, I set it aside to dry. While my candle holder was drying, I decided to dress up my candle. Here I am using my wire and then I wrapped it around my candle. Afterwards, I placed the candle on my candle holder, but then I still felt that it was missing something. So I decided to add a star onto my candle. Here I am using my wire and a drawing of a star to help me as a guide to create my star. Now my star is done and ready to be placed on my candle. So guys, this is how this simple and easy to do candle holder turned out. Hope you guys like it. Candle holder number 3. Yet another easy and fun project you could do with your kiddos. To start out this project, I used a cookie cutter to trace out some shapes onto my foam paper. Once I was done tracing my shapes, I then used my scissors and cut them out. I repeated this process and I cut out some shapes of Christmas trees and a star. Now the shapes are ready for its next step. At this stage, you will need 2 paper cups, your cutout shapes and a glue stick. Here you see me applying glue onto my cutout shapes. Afterwards, I pasted the shapes into my paper cups. Now I am done pasting my shapes into the paper cups and this is how it should look. At this stage, you could use numbers, letters or any shapes you wish. Now the paper cups are prepped and ready for its next step. Here I am applying a little bit of petroleum jelly in my paper cups before I pour in the concrete. Now my concrete mix is ready to be poured into my paper cups. Once the concrete mix was all poured in, I then gently tapped the cups to release any air bubbles. Afterwards, I used my copper cappings and gently placed them into the center of my concrete mix. These copper cappings are going to be used as my candle holders. Now it's all ready to set aside to dry. Now my candle holders are dry and ready to be ripped out. Here I am using my scissors to gently slit the sides of my paper cup to help me take it off easily. Now it's all cleaned up and it's time to gently take off the foam shapes out of the concrete base. This is how it turned out, but it's time to give it a bit of a sanding. Here I am using a 120 grit fine sandpaper to give this candle base a bit of a sanding. I repeated the sanding process on both of my candle holders and then wiped it down clean. Now the candle holders are sanded and ready for a coat of paint. Here I am using Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster. I gave both of these candle holders a generous coat of paint. And then, using a damp rag, I wet distressed it to get my desired look. Now I am done distressing and it's ready for its next step. Here I am using Waverly chalk paint in the color moss to paint my embossed Christmas tree design on my candle holder. I gave this 2 generous coats of paint and set it aside to dry. To paint the embossed star, I decided to use Waverly chalk paint in the color elephant. Once I was done, I set it aside to dry. Now the candle holders are dry and it's time to place the candles. Here I am using red candles which I got in hand, but you could use any color you wish. So this is how it turned out. Hope you guys like it. Candle holder number 4, the most simplest and easiest project to do. All you need for this project is a candle, some ribbon, Epsom salt, a glass vase and some wire. To start off this project, I went ahead and filled up my vase with some Epsom salt. Afterwards, I used my ribbon and tied a bow onto my vase. Now my candle base is done and it's ready for its next step. Here I am using a drawing of a wing along with my wire to create a shape of a wing. Once I was done creating one wing, I then used the same process and created another. Now my wings are done and it's ready to be attached onto my candle. Here I am using a piece of wire which I heated up using my lighter to make a hole in my candle. Doing this process helps attach the wings onto your candle without damaging it. Once I was done, I took my wings and then attached it onto my candle. Now my candle is done. This project was so simple and easy to do but turned out so beautifully. Hope you guys like it. Candle holder number 5. Last but not least, yet another simple and easy project to do. Here I am using a star-shaped ice tray which I greased using some petroleum jelly. At this stage, you could use any type of shape you got in hand. Afterwards, I mixed up 2 cups of cement mix along with water until I got a runny consistency. Now my cement mix is ready to be poured onto my ice tray. Once I was done pouring the cement mix onto my ice tray, I then used a damp rag and then wiped off all of the excess cement and set it aside to dry. Now my star molds are dry and ready for its next step. Here you see me gently taking off my star molds and then wiping it down clean using a rag. Afterwards, using a 120 grit sandpaper, I slightly sanded my stars. Once I was done sanding, I wiped it down clean and then prepared it for its next step. I wanted my stars to shimmer a bit, so I decided to add some glitter. Here you see me applying Mod Podge onto my stars. Once I was done applying the glue on all of my stars, I then sprinkled some silver glitter onto my stars. I repeated this process on both sides of my stars and set it aside to dry. Now my stars are dry and ready for its next step. Here you see me adding Epsom salt into my glass vase. Afterwards, I placed all of my glittery stars into my vase. And then using an IKEA pot saucer, I covered it up and turned it upside down. It's that simple. The candle holder is done and it's time to place a candle. This is how it turned out. Hope you guys like it. Okay guys, that's it for today's project. Hope you got inspired and enjoyed watching this video. I would love to know which one of these projects was your favorite, so please do leave a comment down below. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and to subscribe and hit the bell to support my channel and to be notified every time I upload a video. If you guys want to watch more of my Christmas videos, please click here. Until next time, happy crafting!